Well, let's start with the question from Pastor Moses asking for someone. Um, it's a dicey uh, question, and I can tell you that more people are having sex in their relationships than they would admit. There are so many people in relationships that are having sex. However, it's not the ideal situation, because I said that up front because I don't want anybody to judge this person, uh, you know, or to judge the person who is demanding. But there are side effects, you know. The thing that you want in a husband in the future is self control. So if a guy does not show you self control during a relationship, the truth of the matter is that he will not be able to have self control in the marriage, because oftentimes what you are seeing in the relationship is a preview of what is to come. That is just the fact. And so if he can sleep with you, then he can sleep with anybody else. It's better if it's respectable. I'm okay with the temptation, because I like the idea of a couple being able to tempt themselves. Because if you are a girl and the man doesn't find you attractive enough to even say, man, I wish I could just, be with you right now or something like that, what are the odds? Where is the attraction going to come from in the marriage? And vice versa to the lady as well. But one thing I said, in our last edition, I said, a man is at his best before sex. A man is always at his best before sex. But after sex, is back to regular, because whatever was the mystery is gone. And that's when things begin to deteriorate. And oftentimes, if he doesn't feel satisfied, maybe you are not a tigress enough, he may move on to the next. So, and you are the one who have lost. So I advise that you maintain your stand, to be honest. Maintain your stand. If you guys are in love with each other and you know he's such a good guy, you can fast forward the marriage. But also make sure you go through premarital counseling to be sure that he has self control, to be sure that he's not going to be loose even in the marriage, because then you will not enjoy it. I can tell you that. All right. So I advise keep your stand, because even if the relationship doesn't work out, you will walk away with your dignity. But if something goes wrong, that may haunt you. That may be something that will haunt you, because you now have story to tell the man you are going to marry. Because oftentimes, if no matter how men show that they don't care, they're going to ask, so who was your first? What's your body count? Then you will now start story. So keep your dignity. If he loves you enough, he will also wait. Worst case scenario, if people want to marry in 1 year, you can change it to 6 months or 8 months, since both of you are sure and love each other. I hope this helps. I like this question. What should I do to grow in love, ma'am? This is a very good question, Lois. You're going to help a lot of people even with this question. There's something that I discovered, especially with Christian girls, we church girls, that especially those of us who manage to keep ourselves as virgins before getting married, oftentimes there's a lot of struggle in the relationship. And I've had to help a few people, let's just assume that, yeah, it's a lesson that you learn the hard way sometimes. So when you get married as an innocent girl, naive, ignorant, you may feel entitled to your husband's emotion, affection, desire. That's where the church girls get it wrong. because you will feel like, after all, I gave him my virginity. What else can a woman do for a man? And you don't know that your husband forgot about that virginity right after it passed. And he still expects you to be sexy. He expects you to be hot. He expects you to be affectionate. He expects you to initiate sex, not to just wait for him to be the only one that initiates sex. So a lot of Christian girls suffer emotionally at the beginning of their marriage because they enter with an entitlement mentality. I know I did. you know, uh, you enter with an entitlement mentality where you feel like, man, because of what I did, this guy is going to just kiss the earth that I'm walking on for the rest of my life. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't change the fact that the man is a visual person, is a visual being. Men are moved by what they see, women are moved by how they feel. So when you are kind to a woman, when you show her affection, she responds naturally, tenderly. But when a man sees a fine woman, it's like, ooh, that's, men are moved by what they see. So one of the ways you will grow in love is to understand the needs of your husband, understand his need as a man, then as your husband, customize it. Because men like different things, but we know the things that they like in general. So that is what you can do. Understand his needs, understand what he likes, go out of your way. If some men like wigs, they like makeup, they like hairdo, while some men like natural, they like your hair natural, they like natural nails. But all men like sexy. All men like their wife to look very attractive, dress up. Don't just be like, oh man, I've been taking care of the kids this morning, I clean. You think that the man will pity you. No, the man will not pity you. He'll take his car keys and go out and go and entertain his eyes in an ungodly manner. So you owe that to yourself. And that's one of the things that they don't tell us church girls enough. So understand the needs of your husband. Know that every man desires that you initiate lovemaking, not just wait for him to initiate. Some men say that if they don't touch their wife for 1 year, their wife will not touch them. No, sometimes you need to. I will not go deeper than that right now. But read books, and then ask questions, because love is a personal thing also. To the person that you love, to the one that you love, get to know their fantasies, get to know what their heart desires are, get to know what they wish, and then once in a while experiment and just be a blessing to them. All right, I hope that helps. Blessings. Well, thank you, Precious, for this question. It was a question that I think your first question came up before, but I'm going to still tackle it. Is there any financial status the man must meet to be fit for a relationship that will eventually lead to marriage? I think I clearly answered this question last week. And what I need you to know is that the status is responsibility. The right status. I said, there's no amount of money, there's no figure that anybody would tell you that this is what you need to have. No, it should be enough to be responsible for yourself and responsible for the wife that you are about to carry. So you cannot take something that you are not able to take care of. So that's just what it is. What is the definition of responsibility for you? Are you, renting a 2-bedroom? Are you in a 1-bedroom? If you're getting married, you're going to need to move to a 2-bedroom because you may have to have a kid. What are the expectations of this person that you are being with? That's what you need to know. So do I have enough to be responsible? Once you have enough to be responsible for yourself and for the extra responsibility that you are picking up, then that's when to make a move, okay? And not in an unreasonable manner. Now, your second question, if the person that you are with is not understanding your present condition and says that you're not good enough for them, what do? Run. Leave. Don't force anything to happen, because if somebody is already dissatisfied with your status now, I want to refer you to a teaching I did on don't marry your critic, marry your fan. It's a lifelong hell when you are married to your critic. I remember I put it in a way that you all were laughing that time. I said, marrying a critic is like being a Chelsea player and getting married to an Arsenal fan, and you are both in the same house. So no matter how good you are, your wife will be clapping for other people. She's going to be clapping for other people. She's going to be saying, you are not good enough. You're not, you look at that person, look at the way that person did this, look at the way that person did that. So whenever you see someone who is not even a fan, who is not admiring you, you want to be with somebody who will be like, man, you are trying. I like your work ethics. I like how even inside this, 50K you are making, you are still buying me suya of 2K. I see how you are administrating this money. You know what I mean? Let that person admire you. It's very important too. But if you are hooked to a critic, there's danger. You are hooked to a critic because for the rest of your life, you are never going to be good enough. So when you meet somebody who does not have a natural admiration for who you are now, that's not the one. I hope it helps. Bless you. Well, hello, Sophia. You just came and rolled up a whole handout question here. So I'm going to try my best to answer all your three questions. So right quick, the first question is, when is the right time to let your parents know about your relationship? Because some parents can be hard not to crack. Okay. Now, this is what I would say. When you are sure, when he is sure, and when he's asking. So when a guy is sure about you, he knows you're the one for him forever. He knows that. And then you are also sure, you're very sure about him as well. And then he starts to ask, so when am I going to meet your parents? That is when to now take him to meet your parents. Now, that shouldn't be the first time your parents should be hearing about him, because you shouldn't hide your relationship from your parents. At least whoever is softer, whether it's your dad or your mom, at least kind of tell them, well, you're seeing somebody, but you're not sure yet, so that they know, in case they are suspecting you, so that they know you're seeing someone, but you're not sure yet. So they can give you grace and allow you. But once you are sure about the guy, and once the guy is also sure about you and he has proposed to you, or he has, talked about marriage with you and everything, and then you have accepted, and then he asked, when am I going to meet your parents, or when are we going to make it official with your parents? That's when to make that move. Okay. Your second question is, is it okay to accept gifts from someone that you are dating but you're not engaged to? Of course, yes. The answer is yes. If you're dating the person, because the Bible says that love is kind. And the Bible says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So love should give, love should care, love should take note of certain things. And they don't have to be grandiose, like buy you a car or buy you, no. In a relationship, no. If they can afford it, okay, yes. But I'm not saying that it should. So if someone buys you flowers, whatever they do with gifts these days, I don't even know, but whatever the gifts are these days, if someone buys it for you, If someone buys you gifts, thoughtfulness, whatever it is, I don't want to say what it should be, but something you appreciate, yes, it's okay. It's not a bad thing to receive gifts from someone you're, you know, in a relationship with, that you're not married to as yet. Okay, so it's not. And then when it comes to your third question is about compromise. So in every relationship, there are two things. You must have your points that you are willing to compromise, that will not kill you, that you are flexible. Remember, we talked about suitability, so there must be some level of, flexibility in the relationship. But then there should be also deal breakers. Deal breakers is, I'm not ready to compromise. These are things I'm not ready to compromise. So that lady needs to know, is this a deal breaker for me? Is there something about living abroad that is tied to my destiny and I will never compromise it? I personally don't think that is a deal breaker if she's comfortable. In fact, the person is talking about vacations and all that stuff. So it doesn't look like it's doom and gloom. So I think it's a point that she can compromise. And you never know, as they grow together, they may start having kids, and the man may even change his mind and say, you know what, I want our kids to study abroad or something like that. He may even change his mind eventually. The truth about it is that most African men never want to stay abroad because it doesn't favor them. The laws of the land don't really favor them. They will have to become like, helpers in the house by force. And then they prefer to live in Nigeria or in Africa like kings. So it's a point of compromise. I don't think it's a deal breaker. So she should, because she has said he's a good man. So I think she should consider compromise. And then keep her fingers crossed for the future. Things may change. All right? Blessings. Yes, this is definitely a valid point, Wilfred. Like you said, sometimes if the man is impotent and cannot perform, it's another wahala before the marriage. So I think it is true that when we say, okay, the reason why a lot of people are just saying, oh, I must test the goods first before I buy it, because a lot of people have also been deceived. We've heard stories of young ladies who have been deceived. Some have married even gay men, not even talking about impotence. So there are some that have married impotence. In those cases, the marriages were annulled because it was based on deception. If a man is impotent and deceives a girl into marriage, that marriage can be dissolved. It can be annulled because it was based on deception and it was not consummated. If a marriage is not consummated, it is null and void. So those things happen, but there are ways to find out. There are wise ways. There are wise ways to find out. We have given those counsel in the place of premarital counsel. I don't know if it's okay to generalize it here because you have to also be emotionally matured about some things. When you are in a relationship with a guy and a guy is into you, he's going to hug you, and when he hugs you, do you understand? Some matters may arise, you get, and you may feel something. So that is a sign of health that, okay, this guy feels something for me. So, but if someone hugs you and they don't feel anything, and then they've never even like made an attempt to be like to express how they feel attracted to you, it's a suspicious activity there. And then also, I know some people deal with maybe early ejaculation. Maybe they'll be like, okay, it's not just about the erection or the person is having, normal erection, but what if it's a 2 seconds person? Those are things that can actually be fixed, but as long as matters are arising, matters can't deliver. So there are ways to find out some of these things. So these are issues to discuss in premarital counseling sessions in detail. In detail. Okay, when you go for premarital counsel, don't go and start asking about who pressed the toothpaste from the bottom to the, or who pressed it from the middle. Those are irrelevant things, because both of you can even have two different toothpaste now. So you talk about things that are practical in the day-to-day relationship. So thank you for raising that point, Precious. God bless you. Thank you, okay, for this question. This is a very, very important question, honestly. Knowing that the Bible is against divorce and no child of God get married with the intention to divorce in the future, to what extent should one endure continuous emotional, physical abuse? I thought marriage is supposed to be enjoyed, not endured. You are right. Marriage is supposed to be enjoyed, not endured. However, uh, when two people live different lives as adults and come together, there can be difficulties. And patience and understanding, and most importantly, love is what makes it easy to endure. So those times where you're understanding each other, makes the times that you are enjoying each other worth it. However, there's a cardinal principle that I have. Once life is at stake, all protocols are what? Suspended. Once your life is at stake, all protocols are suspended. Because when you are dead, there's no coming back from that. There's no redemption. There's no correction. No amount of punishment, imprisonment can bring someone dead back to life. So once your life is in danger and there's physical abuse, we don't give any other caution. So you run for your life. That's first. And then if that partner goes and gets counsel, therapy, anger management, and is healed, at least makes that physical effort, is repented, and then you can give it a try. But to be honest, it's been, whenever there's abuse, it's been dangerous for ladies and even the guys too, because we've seen men being killed with knives and stabs from their wives, and that is not it's dangerous, it's scary. So once there's abuse, there's no consideration there. God hates divorce, not as a sin. What divorce does to people, divorce is bad. When you understand it, this is why God hates divorce, because of what it does to people. It's not something that God wants any of his children to experience. That's the ideal. Remember what Jesus said? He said, in the beginning it was not so, but Moses gave you this law because of the hardness of your heart. So because there's an ideal, after all, Jesus is the savior of the world. Why hasn't everybody given their life to Christ? So the ideal situation is for everybody to believe in Jesus so that we can all go and be with him, right? So, but then at the end of the day, not everybody, some people are atheists, they don't even believe there's a God. They don't believe in Jesus. You know what I mean? So there's an ideal situation where man and wife are supposed to be together in love, in unity, in harmony, and in peace. But there are situations that are realistic. They are reality. The reality of the fact that there's abuse emotionally or physically. So we don't recommend that you die in the situation. You don't become a martyr, to prove any point to anybody. Once life is at stake, all protocols are suspended. Bless you. Thank you, John, for this question. And I know you're asking it on behalf of someone. Should I be receiving gifts, money from a man who loves me and wants to get married to me, but I don't feel same for him, neither am I interested in him? So this one is quite clear. Unlike the other one that LK asked, this one is quite clear. The answer is no, because you should not be giving anybody false hope. Okay, you should not, knowing that you are not interested, don't collect their gifts, because men, if you collect their gifts, you are giving them a signal that it's a go. He will just think that, oh, she just wants more pampering. She just needs me to persuade her the more. So he will do that the more, because he feels like the more gifts he gives you, he's going to influence your decision. So if you already know clearly that you're not thinking about it, you already know that this is not it, you just don't receive his gift. Because sometimes some people can turn vicious when they feel that they've been betrayed or deceived. That same loving person can become a nightmare in your life, because he feels like you deceived him or betrayed him. So that's why it's good to make it very clear. I remember as a young lady, and I'll go to the office sometimes, and there was this guy, it was a Hausa guy, adorable and very intellectual, you know. And he wanted to, date me by all means possible. And I told him it's not possible. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And so sometimes I'll get to work and I will see a gift bag in front of the door hanging, and there'll be a card, maybe cookies. His mom also was a baker. So he'll say, oh, I asked my mom to bake these cookies for you. I asked her to make a cake for you, and all of that stuff. I had to vehemently reject that and refuse that, to say, look, it's not like there are things that I can think about. If I'm thinking about something, it's a different thing when I say, okay, let me think about it. But there are certain things I'm not even thinking about. It's like it's a no-no. When you know that, you have to emphasize it. You have to be emphatic about it so that they get it. Otherwise, if you say, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so thoughtful of you. Thank you. But tomorrow when he says, so can you go out with me? Say, no, but I told you. I told you, David, I'm not interested. I know I told you. But yesterday you were doing, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So you're so thoughtful. Thank you. Thank you so much. You may see the other side of David. You may see, you may see the other side of this love and like and gift. It may turn vicious. And it's vice versa. It's both women too. Some women can turn very nasty and come back and destroy everything that was a gift that they gave to you. So guys, beware, ladies, beware. Blessings. I can see that this young man is a very thoughtful person. Okay. How can I handle and balance my expectations from a relationship that they don't become unrealistic as well as unclear? Something tells me that you already know the answer to this question, because the fact that you are intelligent enough to ask this question tells me that you are considering, you already know, you are already talking to yourself to say, don't be too rigid, don't be too harsh, don't be too unrealistic, you know, um, don't expect standards that are, unattainable, whether it's by location, by knowledge, or something like that. How do you judge someone? You judge someone based on their knowledge, based on their exposure, based on their resources. So sometimes that's why we say in a conference, let's say there's a conference in Lagos now. When there's a conference in Lagos, what happens? People fly from Makodi to come to Lagos. Some people will fly from Lokoja to come to Lagos. Some people will leave Abuja to come to Lagos. And some will leave America here. Let's say we leave America here, cross the Atlantic to come to Lagos. Meanwhile, somebody in Lagos will just stroll from their house 10 minutes and get to the destination. All are not equal. All those efforts are not equal. So that is how we consider people. You consider their pedigree, you consider their background. You be like, man, this person got here, came all the way from Lokoja to Lagos. You can't compare the effort of that person with the person that just came from Lagos to the same venue. That's just an hour away. You can't compare the effort of that person with someone who flew from America, who had to cross the Atlantic for 8 hours to get to Lagos. So I think that introspect is important, that you have to judge yourself to know that, okay, I hope I'm not having unrealistic expectation. I mean, I may have been exposed, or maybe I'm more exposed than this person, and this person doesn't even know enough yet. But are they teachable? Do they have the potential? And are they in pursuit of their desire to be better? When you see some of those fundamental basic ingredients, you can run with it. Okay? It's raw rice that turns into fried rice or jollof rice. So sometimes God will give you the raw rice. Then you will now turn it into fried rice or jollof rice or coconut rice or white rice and stew. So, but you cannot eat jollof rice with only pepper and fish. The main ingredient is rice. So sometimes we have to look at these people that we are trying to partner with, in relationships, to say, does this person have the main ingredient of what I want to cook in life? If they have all the other pepper, maggi, salt, and they don't have the rice, you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. So if rice is the basic ingredient for the food you want to cook with your life, then that person must have rice. Then you can now decide to make the effort. Say, okay, she doesn't have tomato. At least I think I can find tomato. She doesn't have maggi. Well, somehow I'm even trying to reduce my spicy intake. Some of those little compromise. Yeah, I think that this should help. All right. But the fact that you have intellect to ask the question, I know you already have an idea of what the answer is, but I hope this also adds and helps. Blessings. Yeah, this question is a very practical question because it happens a lot. Yes. And you have to be prepared for it when you're going into marriage, and hopefully it doesn't happen to you. Amen. Right? While courting, we had dreams and priorities set at even. We were focused and enthusiastic about what to achieve. But few years into, you guys keep typing, and then when you type, the question disappears. Okay, I'm trying. But I understand the question is like, things have changed. It's no longer enthusiastic, and is not pursuing some of the goals. Now, what do I do? So here's the answer to that question. Okay. It's very, 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 very important. And listen, that's why accountability is key in the life of who you are going to marry. Accountability, accountability, accountability. Don't marry anybody who does not listen to anybody. Hey, can I say it again? Somebody help me bring microphone. Don't marry anyone who does not listen to anybody, who does not respect anybody, who says, I know what I'm doing. Nobody's going to tell me what to do, how to run my life. Run. Because nobody does a picnic in a forest. People do picnics in a garden. What's the difference between a garden and a forest? Nobody takes care of a forest. So there are wild animals there that can eat you up. But a garden has staff. They prune the flowers. They clean the chairs. The grass is green because somebody is watering it. And that's why people go there to sit down, to have picnics and just enjoy. So, warning, warning, warning. Don't marry anyone who has no accountability, who has no one that if you call the name of that person, they will shake small. If you call the name, a pastor told me one time, he said, I have somebody in my life that if today I get up and I say, I want to divorce my wife, and that person calls me and say, don't divorce your wife. He said, I don't need that person to give me a reason, but I will obey him. Now, are we saying people should be zombies? No. But you need to marry a man or a woman that is accountable. A woman that Somebody will call her and she will answer. She will go and sit down. Why did you do this? What are you? What is this? What do you want to do? Why are you? Somebody that can caution someone. I remember an experience that I had with someone, and we both did not agree because he was upset. We both did not agree on a decision. He did not agree to do, he did not want to do naturally what I was telling him to do. But because I was over him, because I am his accountability factor, he respected my decision and did that even though he did not want to do it. Now, that is safety. Those are guardrails that will keep you from danger. And the first accountability should be God. The girl's relationship with God has to be solid. That person has to love God more than you. The man has to love God more than you. The person has to have a solid relationship with God. Not a fluctuating one, not the one that goes to church only when he's happy and doesn't go when he's sad. Vice versa for the woman too. You will say, I used to go to church with my parents, but I don't know, I've not been there for a minute, but I can come with you. Which church do you go to? Don't don't do that. You want someone who has a relationship with God that is clear, because the day they are angry with you, they will want to talk to God in prayers, and God will tell them, go and settle with your wife. And that will be the saving grace. Number two, that person has to have a human accountability factor in their life as well. A human being that can call them, that even if they are not answering you, they will answer that person. Those things have saved lives from destruction. So that is what I will say, I think, to that. So take note. Let's take note of that. Those are interventions that can help. All right. Hello, Amoto. Thank you for your question. When two people are in a relationship and the lady is earning more than the man, and now it was going well, that the guy is hardworking, but that's just his circumstances, and they both are heading to marriage. But where there's comma is the submission and respect issues. That's where I have a problem with, because you can't say the relationship is going well and there is at the same time respect and submission issues. No, because if the man is hardworking and principled and the lady have seen that and appreciate that, and regardless of the fact that she earns more than him, that's enough for her to still respect him, and that's enough for her to still also defer to him, when we talk about submission. Some people have the wrong idea of what submission is. So that will have to be a topic that we will treat. So, because when we say submission, in line with the word of God, there's also the idea that some people have, that they think that submission means sit down here and you sit down, stand up, you stand up, bark like a dog, woo woo, then you are submissive. What's your name? I don't know my name, sir. What do you think my name is, sir? So that is the idea that some people think of submission, and that is wrong. Submission is that regardless of all I am, all I know, I still defer to you to say, okay, what do you think? I still give you. So it's not like I'm helpless, but I'm deferring to you. So that's why some people say submission is power that is under control. So it's very important in this case when you say it's going well. It's going well should be that regardless of the fact that she makes more than me, she loves and respects me. She understands my work ethics and knows that I'm not a lazy person, and knows that she's the one who has broken through now, but my breakthrough is coming as well. So that in itself is the definition of respect. So when you say respect and submission issues, is it a commanding tone, like, hey, you must do this thing now, and I don't care what your own opinion is? I need to understand the reason why this question says that the relationship is going well and heading towards marriage, but now there's submission and respect issues. So because it can be going well and heading towards marriage, and there's now submission, because submission and respect are the primary thing or primary reason why this relationship is supposed to be going well in the first place, because of the disparity in the earning power of the both parties. So let's understand the dimension of this respect and submission issues so that it can make sense. All right? God bless you. What's the difference between falling in love and growing in love? Well, because when people use it as a cliche, it's like when you fall in love, you fall out of love. It's just to be able to provide context or guidance. Like, don't claim that you're in love and be blind. I like that saying that they say, oh, love can be blind, but marriage will open your eyes. you know. So the difference between falling in love and growing in love is basically that love is the first force of attraction, and that's important in love, where you see somebody and you be like, wow, I like this person. And that's the force of attraction. Some ladies have the ability to attract, but they don't have the ability to retain the attraction. So, your packaging is what attracts. Your packaging, maybe your style, your poise, your class. Somebody may get to know, oh, I like her personality, and be drawn to you and like what he sees. But now your content is what will be responsible for the retention of that attention. The retention of that attention. The attraction being sustained into whether relationship or marriage is going to be based on your content. So the content, if someone gets too close to you and then be like, well, she's so nasty, he's mean, I know he's handsome, I liked him from the beginning, but he's not straightforward, he's this. And so there are certain things that may turn people off and just walk away, even though there was attraction in the first place. Now, in a relationship setting, growing in love is making up your mind, because love, the big picture of love is a commitment. Love is a decision. Love is beyond a feeling. The feeling is important, where you see and you like. That's important for both of you to cohabit together. You must like something. You must like the person. You must like something about them. So that's important. So that force of attraction is important and necessary. But in the big picture and in the real, scheme of life and the long haul, love is a decision. Or love is a commitment, because you will see things that will turn you off. You will see things that will put you off and discourage you, but that you are committed enough to say, you know what, we're going to walk through this. And that's why we're intentional about talking to you young ones, that look before you leap. Because once you are married, it's supposed to be, okay, make it work, no matter what, make it work. So you have all the power before you get married. So you guys that are not married right now, you are in the best position of your life to make sure that you make a right decision. All right. So growing in love is that decision to say, we're not perfect, but we are going to walk through it. Because we have a commitment. Because we have a commitment. And that's why I'll tell you this real quick. I've done this teaching before. The threefold love: the eros, the filial, and the agape. The eros is the emotional love, is the force of attraction, is the my body is calling your body kind of love. The filio is the friendship love, that you are friends, you can talk, you can gist, you can laugh, you can share your good news with each other. Not that if you are you claim that you are in love, and the only time you people are your the definition of your relationship is sex, sex, sex only. That's eros. Eros is just whenever we see we can't keep our hands off each other. You are just, but you are not connecting. You don't connect. You can't talk. You can't gist. You're not even at the same level of intellect. You don't share interest. You don't laugh about the same thing. What he finds funny, you don't find funny. So you are not friends. So it's going to be difficult. So if all you are doing is eros, 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 that relationship will not even last the test of time. So the friendship is that apart from the fact that we have an attraction to each other, we are friends, we can gist, we can talk, we can laugh, we can do high five, we can hang out in places and not be ashamed of each other. But the biggest of it all that makes it a complete falling in love process is the agape. The agape is the unconditional love of God. It's the love that loves you even when you don't deserve to be loved. It's the love that forgives, it's the love that protects, it's the love that covers. It's the love that enhances, that betters your life. That's agape. And that is what makes any marriage work. Without agape, a marriage cannot work. If a marriage is only eros, when eros expires, that's it. On to the next. If a marriage is only based on, the filial, yeah, it may not also last the test of time. But agape is the one that compels you to forgive, that makes you to walk in love, even when you don't feel like. And agape makes it complete. So that is how you grow in love, is to be tied to the God factor. But when you are single, that's why I say we check the things that matter, the physical things that matter. Because once marriage happens, it is meant to be forever. It is meant to be a decision. It is meant to be, commitment, not a casual decision anymore. Okay? This question here is very important, honestly. It's borderline like superstition and stronghold mentality. That's why we say when people say that, like father, like son, like mother, like daughter, that is not in the Bible. And that's why we say as Christians, we only walk by the word, what you believe. You understand? What you believe is what will come to pass in your life. What you believe is what will work out eventually in your life. So, what do you say if they say what you see your parents doing? That is true that there's a level of impartation, but there's also a level of belief. Faith changes everything. That is why somebody can come from a terrible background and turn out to an awesome person. That is why somebody who came out of divorce can have a wonderful marital relationship. Because what do you say about the positives that turn to negative? What do you say about the son of a pastor who is now an armed robber? Do you say that like father, like son? No, his father was not a thief. His father was a preacher. Why is he now? What about the people who are in straight relationships, who were born by a man and a woman, and now saying that they want to be with a woman, or they want to be, a woman wants to be with a woman, and a man wants to be with a man? Can you say like father, like son? No. So these things are based on belief, influences, the influences out there. But most importantly, the beliefs that we connect to is so powerful that you can come from a poor background and become super rich. There are so many success stories out there. There are so many stories out there of people who came out, their parents were poor and wretched, and they are super rich today. So, like father, like son, it's not a statement, it's just a superstition statement, and it does not. So the belief of the person you are with is what matters the most. What is their deepest faith? What is their deepest belief? I was sharing, with someone, and I was telling them why faith, Faith, is what delivers us from fate, Fate. So your Faith will deliver you from your Fate. So faith is what life has packaged for you. That is Fate. That's life's package. This is how your story is supposed to end, based on what, if you wait for what life plans for you. They say, in their family, they don't used to do this. In their family, they don't used to do that. That is Fate. So you can submit to that by giving your faith to it, by giving your fath to it, by giving your power to it. But if you put faith in the Son of God, if you put faith and say, hey, I've been redeemed from the curse of the law, and my lineage is now the lineage of Jesus Christ, and anything that is not in the lineage of Jesus Christ is not permitted. I am now a new creature. All things are passed away. I believe what the Lord says about me. I am the head and not the tail. The plans of God concerning me are of peace and not of evil, to give me an expected end. By the time you begin to, your faith in the Word and in the Son of God, hey, that's your new reality. That's how you flip the switch. So the most important thing is your belief. It's your belief. It's what you donate your belief to that will come to pass in your life. So a poor man can donate his belief to a life of wealth and prosperity, and it will happen for him just like that, regardless of his upbringing. And somebody who is from a proper upbringing can buy into a lie of the devil and falter along the way. So we don't believe in superstitious lines or in cliches. Is the faith and the belief, of who we are and what the person we're interacting with, what is their faith and belief. That is who you are. That is who you are going to be with. It's not their village people. I'm not saying that you should not do your due diligence on checking people's backgrounds and histories, but I'm telling you that it's not like father like son, and it's not like mother like daughter. No, it's like faith like belief. Blessings. Wilfred, yes, how to identify a red flag is, like I said before, on other circumstances, you have to know yourself first before you can have a relationship. Before you decide to be with someone, know yourself first. Know what you like, know what you hate, know what you can tolerate, know what you cannot tolerate. Everybody have different red flags. My red flags may not be your own red flags. It's based on who we are, based on our personality, our desires, our needs, our plans for the future. That is how you get to know what you cannot accommodate, what you cannot tolerate. So red flags are customized. The general ones that we talk about will be their faith. What do they believe? Do they believe in Buddha? Do they believe, in God? What do they believe in? So you got to know. Those are, if they believe in something that you are against, that is how to, that becomes a red flag. Another red flag is if they are dangerous. Are they abusive? Those are general red flags. But the other ones, like, okay, can you be with somebody who can't cook, who say I won't cook, I don't cook at all, I don't believe in cooking, and the person is a female. So you may be like, oh yeah, I'm good with that. And another person may say, that's a big red flag. Okay, I'm not going to starve. So, but generally, the general ones are when there's danger, and there's a clash or conflict of faith and fundamental beliefs, and all of that. So, but otherwise, red flags are some things that are personal to you, what you can tolerate, another person may not. So, the more you know yourself, the better you are positioned to make a decision of someone that you want to be with. So the problem sometimes is if you are too young and you haven't even figured out your own likes and dislikes and what you hate and what can't tolerate and what you can tolerate. You have not even figured out your purpose yet. You are not qualified to have a relationship. So you get to know your own. You get to be able to say, this is me, you know. And once that happens, then you can now say, okay, I know where I'm going. So I know who best I want to choose to go with me based on where I know I'm going. All right. Blessings. This is a funny question. I like the last line. Say, who will marry those people? So growing up, you heard that some families are bad. Don't marry from them, and and you're wondering what role does family play. If they say those family are bad, don't marry them. Who who will marry them? You sound like a hero. You want to be a Batman or a Superman to save the day. Then who will marry those ones that they say their families are? So it still boils down to faith and belief, okay? Because sometimes when you investigate some family problems, you now realize it's all based on superstition. If somebody starts spreading a rumor about you today, one person tell one person, another person tell another person, and nobody bothers to investigate whether it's true or not. All of a sudden, everybody gets to believe that rumor, and it becomes a stronghold in people's mind. And sometimes nobody investigates to get to the point, to the bottom of it, to know whether it is true or not. That is how some of these family issues begin. Maybe two people quarrel or two people have a misunderstanding, and somebody takes a vengeance and say, you will see, and start spreading wrong information. And sometimes they're actually true. Some families may be dangerous. Maybe they are, fetish people. um Herbalists come from family too. So if they say this person is a Amadioha priest, and you want to go and marry into that family, and you say, Jesus, Jesus is my belief. But the person you are with, his father is a Amadioha priest, and he doesn't believe in Jesus. He believes in Amadioha. You can see that you are already making a wrong decision, because it still boils down to faith and belief. So what the person you encounter believes is important, but their ties, their influences, the strength of the influence of the family also matters. And we as counselors always prefer and advocate that the family you are marrying into is a family that you feel safe with, is a family that you feel accepted by, that you don't go into a family that hates you. That is too much work. That is, you are buying into a battle that you may fight for the rest of your life. So if you don't know about it, it's a different thing. But if you are being resisted from the get-go, it can be dangerous. However, the faith and belief of the person that you are marrying is important, because remember what we say about marriage. Who you marry is choosing the battle that you will fight for the rest of your life. So you have to choose wisely. You have to choose wisely. So make decisions with wisdom based on knowledge. Knowledge is what you have seen, you have perceived, and then imagine into the future, 20 years, 30 years. How will this story end? That is a better way to make decisions today. But if you just go by what I feel, then you may be burnt out along the line. So the faith of the person matters. If you are meeting somebody that has a strong faith, both of you can unite yourself and fight your way through. But if that person is not at the same level of faith with you, you may be left stranded along the road. This is why it's important, to have a family that accepts you, that loves you when going into a marriage. It helps the journey. It helps the journey. Pastor Micah, this question is funny. Are you sure relationship is hard for pastors these days? And I saw the way they're attacking you. Yeah, even Ruth is attacking you that sometimes, but it's true. You know that sometimes that some pastors are lazy and some ladies don't want to be mama alone again. So it's I think it depends on what side you are. There are some young pastors who are having it really good, to be honest. There are some young pastors, there are certain ladies who want to be mama. There are certain ladies who see the potential in the pastor. There are certain ladies who are in love with the pastor, you know, for his handsomeness and maybe for his oratory, and they already see themselves. Um, so it's I think it's a 50-50 situation, the truth of the question. So there are some that if you are not looking the part, you don't sound like what they want, they may not want to come and be identified with you at this stage. But it's good to also figure some things out that can help you as a young pastor. As a young pastor, you don't take for granted your appearance. Sometimes some of these fake pastors understand that part. They package themselves well, you know, and their packaging is appealing, even though their content is fake, but they package themselves well. So you that have the real content, if you despise packaging, and by that, by packaging, we're not saying go over the top and above your means. No, by understanding that how I look matters, my haircut, you know, I can't say, oh, because I'm a young pastor, I'm fasting 17 days. So, you know, I should have dry saliva on the side of my mouth because I've been praying. Ah, ish, ko, 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 ka, 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 ka. No, because of that, my lips should be dry. You know, my face should be white. You are that one is you that is causing the problem, is not the devil. Because a woman has a picture of how she wants her husband to look. It's not a matter of how much is in your bank account. That's your bank account is not the first thing people see when they look at you. It is you. So if you invest in, you know, if that shoe, no matter how old that shoe is, polish it, let it be shining. You know, appear neat with the little you have. Have a haircut. Make sure that you are not, you know, carrying Osama bin Laden up and down the place. You know, so those are first things first. Your packaging matters. Your appearance matters to the self-esteem of the person that you are trying to be identified with. That there's a business side to ministry. There's a business side to ministry. And I grew up in Angwarimi in Kaduna, close to Ramat Road. Ramat Road, that was where Living Faith started. It was a walking distance from our house where I grew up before they now moved to Bernawa. One of the things that, you know, there are a lot of controversies about Bishop Oyedepo, but there are certain things that you cannot argue. It is work ethics. That man blew up the ministry of tapes, you know, audio tapes. They built into the people the discipline of hearing the word over and over again. So as the service is over, people are lining up for the tapes. And with the tapes, they started producing books. They started writing, and then they started the Dominion Publishing Company. Now, what Oyedepo makes from only his books is enough for him to take care of his family. So sometimes you talk to some people, some pastors, they're lazy to put a series together. They're lazy to coordinate some of the things that they have as talents to write, you know, and they don't have a structure around them. They don't have a team because they are so full of pride and arrogance that they feel that they want to do everything by themselves, or they can't depend on people. They don't want people to tell them what to do. So some pastors don't have the grace for administration, and they would do better if they did. While some pastors have administration and they may not have the oratory, but they are succeeding more than the ones that have the oratory and not administration. So there's the business side of ministry. Jesus himself showed it to us. You know, he was not lazy. He moved. He walked. He said, I must walk the walk of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can walk. So I believe that even as a young pastor, the definition of work, like what Ruth was saying, that some pastors are able to have a job and be a pastor on the side, like a regular secular job, like most redeems that are, their pastors are bankers and stuff like that. So you don't even have to have a secular job. You can create a job within your pastoral ministry, where you are writing your books, you are having inspiration, you are turning the things that God has blessed you with, you are monetizing it. There's so much I could say, but I don't want the answer to linger. I believe that this is just a minor misunderstanding, and it can be resolved with a conversation. These are the kinds of things we classify under just minor misunderstanding. Both of you maybe if you check, there may be an underlying uh, reason why both of you are not happy with each other, and you are just using this as a way of reacting or retaliating to each other. So don't allow anybody to stop you from being who you are. When you volunteer to do something and then you don't do it again, find a way to communicate. Man, this season I'm busy with work and stuff like that. I may not be able to help a lot around the house like I used to. But if you just stop abruptly without explanation, then you have reacted to something. Maybe your wife has done something that you didn't like, and you are now reacting. Then she too, she will react. And then reaction upon reaction upon reaction until you guys find yourself where a simple misunderstanding it could have been resolved with a conversation. So I believe that when things like this happen, the real issue is not the reaction. The real issue should be checked. What is the thing that led to the reaction? So if you really are a helper around the house and you are not going to be able to help, there are times where you just say, honey, you see this 2 weeks, just I'm not going to be able to be available like that, because this is this and this is that. There's no way that the woman would be angry, because already you have shown that this is who you are. You are a supportive person, and that's probably one of the things that they liked about you. It's not that they may be thinking that is their right. And if they are thinking is their right, a conversation will set it straight. A conversation will set it straight. So not reaction versus reaction. Okay? I hope this helps. Blessings. This one is a bit tricky because the intentions look good, but you also may have a misplaced priority, and it will cause problems later based on things that we have seen happen before. Nobody should ever neglect themselves or their own personal development. Nobody. We talk about leadership, and we say leadership is the ability to lead yourself also while leading others. So while you are leading others, your first and primary commitment must be to yourself, because our respect, our reputation is built on how we build ourselves, on how we develop ourselves. So even to the person that you are with, because you can decide to put everything in. What if the person doesn't see it that way? What if that person sees it as, I'm the one that is more talented, I'm the one who is the breadwinner, I'm the one who is, what if that person considers it as there? Does the person consider it as our, or is it you that is considering it as our? You have to be able to know that if it's a decision, if it's a decision that both of you are taking, and it's something that both of you are in agreement about, and both of you have stakes in it. Not that you say because she's talented and you are now doing, you are projecting her, because she may see it as her hard work. So don't forget that. So that's why I say it's tricky. I always advocate that you should, you understand, always develop yourself while developing others, because your self-respect is coming from who you are, not what another person is. So let there be that balance and that harmony, so that you two don't become entitled to what he or she may consider their own success. Because sometimes some women have helped a lot of men, and then the men start treating them like slippers. They start disrespecting them because they feel like it's all them. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, you want to, and it happens vice versa for too as well. So a lot of times you have to balance it to say, I develop yourself, because your self-respect is going to come from what you are, what you do. So that is my advice on that. Hope it helps. Dabara, this is a question that I had to drink tea for. I had to drink tea because I'm like, wow, it is a community boyfriend, community husband. And in the same community, you have now found someone that you genuinely love. The problem here is that we don't trust this, your genuine love, because we want to believe that before you dated almost everybody, according to this question, that person must have, you may have also felt the same thing, like, oh, I love this one, I love that one. So how can we now trust that this lady is a genuine love? Because she's also in the same community. Is it genuine love, or is because she's the latest? Because she's, all the rest are familiar and this one is new, because there are certain guys that like new. Any new lady on the block, any new student that just arrived, anything new, they say, that chick, have you seen that chick? In fact, she's my next mission. Some guys are like that. It's like a race to conquer. So anything that is new that I see, I must conquer. So this genuine love is questionable at this time, because we have to get to the bottom of the reason why this person is promiscuous, why this person, is insatiable, seem not to be satisfied. So maybe the person needs therapy. Maybe there's a trauma that's locked down deep inside of them, or a childhood abuse that is speaking out in this conquest, the drive or the desire to just conquer and keep conquering. So the genuine love for me is questionable. I just feel like it may be the newest girl, or the one I've not conquered out of all of them. Because if you say out of all the ladies, you went back to one of the ladies that you now feel that you have genuine love for, that may be understandable. But if this lady is new, and because I say new in parentheses, it means that yes, there's something about this guy that likes to conquer new things. And it may be a reflection of an unresolved traumatic event in their lives that they've locked, and they need therapy, is my suggestion. But in a situation where someone has a genuine problem of, I've met someone, like I've dated, around here, and I saw what John said, change location. Is it John or Chimeze who said that? Say change location. Sometimes relocating can give new perspective, but if you relocate and you are the problem, you have taken the problem to that new location. That's what matters. That's what it is. Okay. And the second question you have here is, what's the danger of multiple relationships? Um, Multiple relationships is relative in the sense of, am I dating and figuring out that, okay, this person is not what I thought they were, and I'm not having this relationship again and moving on? Or are we talking about sexual relationships? So the multiple sexual relationships are the one that are dangerous, because you are building a profile that will haunt you in the future, that you may have problems that you won't even know where it's coming from. So that would be the disadvantage of, you know, building ties and connections with things and stuff that you don't even know, and maybe even carrying a physical disease, you know. So it's if it's sexual relationships, that's the dangerous. But if it's regular relationship, you're not having any intercourse, and it's like, okay, I'm not bound to someone that I figure there's something about them that will not favor my future, and I end the relationship. You know, there's no danger. There's no danger in that, especially if you are being reasonable. You know, especially if you are being reasonable. So yeah. This is a good question. Is there such a thing as a soulmate? Since we've heard about soulmates for a long time, what I would say is this: the idea, you know, of a soulmate, soul ties, is soul ties also built on the soulmate thing. But the thing here is, what is the concept of a soulmate? Now, your soul is the seat of your emotions. Your soul is the seat of your emotions, which is why a lot of people say soulmate. That means when you establish a deep connection with someone, you establish a deep connection with somebody that they seem to get you. They seem to, you'll be like, oh my God, they complete me. That's what some people say. And even that is wrong. Nobody completes you. You are complete. The Bible says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything that God made was good and perfect. So our spouses are meant to complement us, not to complete us. But you see, when we express words, sometimes is more of what we mean, what we intend, not what we are actually saying. You know what I mean? So a soulmate is someone you have a deep connection with. So I would rather that we identify it as a soul connection. You know, the reason why it's better as a soul connection is that some people think that there's only one person out there for me. Now, if that concept is right, that means if one person gets it wrong, all of us are going to get it wrong. So that means somebody may be with your soulmate right now, or we may be mismatched, you know, and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that some of you have had a soul connection with more than one person. If you are falling in love with more than two girls before, you have that's and you know that it was love, you know you had a deep connection, but something else did not allow the relationship to work. Even us ladies, there are people we've had soul connections with, we felt deeply connected, but one or two things happened and the relationship did not work. So would you say that we have an allotment of soulmates? What is the maximum number of soulmates? Can you have 10 soulmates? Can you have 5 soulmates? So when you say soulmate, some people just think it's just the one for me or no other. Every other person is wrong. This is the person that is my soulmate. And that's why a man will leave his wife and 4 children and go and meet, go away with a girl who he feels like this is my soulmate. And another woman will leave her husband and 5 children and go away with a man that she feels that is her soulmate. No, it's a deep soul connection. And because the soul is the seat of our emotion, not our spirit, our soul carries our emotion, hosts our emotion. So that's why when your soul is satisfied, when your soul is like, oh, this girl gets me, before I think she's saying what I'm thinking, you know, before I even decide something, she just knows what I want, she knows what I'm thinking, you know, and all of that, and they just feel that deep connection. So it's a soul connection, you know, that's what it is. It's a soul connection. That's what I would rather it is addressed by than a soulmate. So I know the reason why you're asking is if the soulmate myth is right, that means there's only one person out there for me. How do I now find my soulmate? No, a soulmate, the concept of it is someone that you have a deep soul connection with. Okay? I hope that helps. This is another interesting combo question. I'm going to answer the questions one after the other. The first one got me laughing because I've had an experience that is so funny with relating to bra and undies. Uh, as a young lady, I was very shy. You know, my first bra I couldn't buy for myself. I had to give my friend money to buy it for me because I was just like that shy. You know, like how am I even going to go and just how do I even know which bra to buy? You know, but my friend had more experience than I did, and so she decided to volunteer to buy me my first bra. You know, and so my first official relationship that was a fiance and fiance relationship. Dude was a romantic guy, and so I was visiting one time, and then we were going out. And so he drove to where I didn't know we were going. He said he was taking me somewhere. I said, okay, cool. And we get there. He opens the door for me because that relationship was so, I mean, one of the things that was outstanding about that relationship was that I never opened the door for myself as long as I was with that guy. He opened the door for me to enter the car and he will open the door for me to come out. That was not something he pretended to do. It was just a part of him. He was just a gentleman like that. So he would open the car door for me to. So to come down and then to come in. So we went to this place, and then he came down and opened the door for me. And I came down. Lo and behold, there was a place where ladies, a bunch of women selling bra and on this. And then I remember him saying, um, he called me what he calls me and then says, let's get you some undies. And I was like deeply ashamed. I wanted the ground to open for me to enter. I was like, what? What kind of carnality is this? Carnality was one of my favorite words back then. I said, what kind of carnality is this? I felt like he was x-raying me. Like what would even make you think that way to it was so ridiculous. I was just over the top. You guys don't even know how good you have it now. This is a spirit developed. I've developed emotionally so much. I've come a long way because I was like, what kind of carnality is that? It was like, he didn't even budge. He felt like, look, we're getting someone this today. And I still was not confident enough. And I saw him bargaining with those women. And then they were looking at me and say, yeah, this one was sizer. This one was sizer. They picked all these bras for me. And he collected the bag, paid for it. We entered the car, silence. It was utter silence. I could not. It took me a minute to recover from that, to be honest. So I think it's a romantic gesture. It shows how deeply emotional or connected that person feels to his woman. So as long as he's not saying, open it, let me measure it with my hands so that I can go and buy it. As long as that is not the case, it's good to go. Okay, it's allowed. It's actually a kind gesture. I've experienced some. I've dated somebody who was buying pad. Always pad. When I was on my monthly cycles. So there are people who are connected in different ways like that. When is that time of the month, the gesture that they are bringing is when you are coughing, they bring you cough syrup. You know what I mean? I've experienced things like that. Yeah. So let's just let it be. As long as it's as it says. So it's not. I don't see anything wrong with it. Some people express themselves that way, and ladies do too. Why do ladies buy briefs and boxers? Even the men are even campaigning against it now. Stop buying us briefs and boxers. We want iPhones too. we want expensive gifts too. So ladies normalize that already. Ladies can buy perfume boxers and briefs for their partners. So why is it not? It's a good thing if a man is that detailed. Yeah. Okay. How best can you discuss fantasies with your partner that you are yet to get married to without it leading to sexual immorality? Yeah, this is easy. You know, I think it should be on a lighter note. It should not be when both of you are emotionally like vulnerable with each other, and then you start to feed that vulnerability in that moment. So I think when you are like in the eatery, you're in a public place where you are having lunch or dinner on a date, those are healthy times to talk about things like that. Or when you are talking on the phone too, you can ask questions. Okay, so babes, what kind of a person do you think you are sexually? Because we're all sexual beings, and we kind of have an idea of our appetite. Just the way you wake up, you want to eat rice. You didn't need a prophet to do that. So it's something that is innate, and that's how our sexuality is. So at the end of the day, you can be like, babe, so what kind of person do you think you're going to be sexual? Are you a once a day kind of person? Are you a 3 times a day kind of person? Or are you a once a month kind of a person? Everybody knows their sexual energy. So if somebody is telling you that, man, I did ask those kind of questions. You understand? I asked those kind of questions, and you may hear an answer like, babes, every day. And then you can laugh it off, and you can now come to the realistic balance of, personally, I think I'm going to be that person who is every day or once a week or twice a day, or and in that way you can balance each other out. Okay, babe, so what is the gateway to your emotions? What's the gateway to your emotions? Some men say, oh, once you touch the girl's hair is over. Some ladies, when you hold them, is over. So what is the gateway to your emotions? That's the healthy way to ask. So the person can say, oh, I love kissing, and another person can say, oh, if you rub my chest. So things like that are things you can have while you are eating meat pie and eating shawarma. You can have conversations like that and just build your profile, your emotional profile of this person. It may not be totally accurate, but it's definitely a way for you to have an idea. Blessings. I'm sorry to disappoint you on this question number 3. You'll be shocked that sometimes some people who are very spiritual pretend a lot, to be honest. So they use the spiritual persona to mask their feelings. So they may not be telling you the truth about their hidden feelings. So that's why you see there are some pastors, or you didn't say pastors, so let's not say pastors, some spiritual people, that's the word you use here. Some spiritual people, or some people you say feel very spiritual. No, some of those people are pretending. They are just using the spirituality to cover, to mask. Deep down, there's every door has a key that will open it. Every door has a key. So every human emotion has that combination, that particular key that will turn it loose. So when the person meets, and you'll be shocked that some of these very spiritual people, their taste is higher than the regular people. Their taste, if they describe the kind of girl they're looking for, is Bami Water. For Americans, Mami Water is what we call a mermaid. Like when sometimes you compare beauty, you know how they make the idea of mermaids that they look pretty and beautiful and stuff like that. So there some of these very spiritual people, their taste is to the highest heavens. I remember this guy that got married. He's an intense worshiper. And when he got married, people were making fun on the social media saying, as deep and spiritual as this guy, so he had eyes to go and get a very beautiful wife like this. A lot of people were surprised, So that's sometimes that's what it is. That these highly spiritual people that you may think don't care, they are the ones that care the most, because when you see their choices, when you see the people they end up with, you'll be like, wow, I didn't know. That's what I mean by their taste can be like, when they describe the kind of woman they want, you will say, are you serious? You wouldn't think that they look that carnal or they will be that high-minded. So in summary, if there's a door, there's a key for it. So everybody has some type of emotions that someone will unlock. And then I summarized by saying that if someone feels a calling like Apostle Paul and does not want to be married, it's not a crime, since the Bible doesn't say if you don't marry, thou shalt not see the kingdom of heaven. No. So if there are people who feel called to the single life, and that's okay too, that's okay too. It's not an offense. Their spirituality should not offend you. And then some is because they are still waiting for what they are waiting for. And once they see it, they will identify it. Okay? You are blessed.